day. So today I'm going to discuss about neurons, the part and functions of neurons. So this is my model of neurons. So this is the cell body, the dendrites, the nucleus, the axon. This one is the axon and the presynaptic terminal. So what is neurons? Neurons are the building blocks of our nervous system. These specialized cells are information processing units of our brain that is responsible for receiving and transmitting information. The neurons carry messages throughout our body, including the sensory information from the external stimuli and signal from the brain to the different muscle group in our body. The next is the dendrites. So what is the dendrites? Dendrites are the tree-like extension at the beginning of the neuron. Here, this is the dendrites to help the cell body to increase the surface area. These tiny protrusions receive information from the other neurons and transmit electrical stimulation to the soma. Dendrites are also covered with synapses. So the next is the soma. So what is the soma? It is the cell body. Soma or cell body. It is where the signals from the dendrites are joined and passed on. And the soma and the nucleus do not play an active role in the transmission of the neural signal. Instead, these two structures serve to maintain the cell and keep the neuron functional. This soma contains numerous organelles involved in a variety of cell functions. It also contains a cell nucleus that produces RNA that directs the synthesis of proteins. And this supports and maintains the functioning of neurons. So this is the cell body. The next. And also, the soma produces the proteins, the cell body produces the proteins that the other parts of the neuron, including the dendrites, the axon, and the synapses, need to function properly. The next is the axon. What is the axon? Axon is the elongated fiber that extends from the cell body from here to here. Yes. To the terminal endings and transmit the neural signal. The larger diameter of axon, the faster it transmits information. Some axons are covered with fatty substances called myelin that acts as an insulator. This myelin axon transmit information much faster than other neurons. So the characteristic of axon is most neurons have only one axon. It transmits information away from the cell body. Axon may or may not have myelin covering and range dramatically in size from 0.1 millimeters to over 3 feet long. Yes, that's long. The next is the presynaptic terminal. Am I right? Yes, presynaptic terminal. The terminal buttons are located at the end of the neuron and are responsible for sending signal to the other neurons. At the end of the terminal button, in a gap known as synapse, the neurotransmitters are used to carry signals across the synapse to other neurons. When an electrical signal reaches the terminal buttons, neurotransmitters are then released into synaptic gap. These terminal buttons contains vesicles holding the neurotransmitters, convert the electrical impulses into chemical signals, cross the synapse where they are received by the other nerve cell, and this is responsible for the reuptake of any excessive neurotransmitters released during the process. The dendrites of neurons receive information from sensory receptors or the other neurons. This information is passed down to the cell body and onto the axon. The cell body and onto the axon. Once the information has arrived at the axon, it travels down the length of the axon in the form of electrical signal known as the action potential. So this is my model. This is made of yarn. This is the nucleus again, the cell body, the dendrites, the axon, and the presynaptic terminal.